I get to United States at the end of the Vietnam War. I remember the day, April 30th, 1975. By accident, I get on a boat with 2 kids. My son is 3 years old, my daughter only 6 months old. I didn't expect to go to United States, but it's by accident or by chance, by faith, whatever the way it is. But I find myself on a boat with my 2 kids. I did not know how to swim. I did not speak English. I have no money. I have nothing, no milk, no preparation, no clothes. And here I am on the boat, 10 days on the boat. I don't know how to swim. And there is a long story because it's so much into it that a lot of challenge. But at the end, I find myself in Guam. And from Guam, I get sponsored to come to Washington, D.C. And when I get to Washington, D.C., I don't know anyone. I have no money. I didn't know what I'm going to do. So the lady who sponsors is Mrs. Jean McDaniel with the International Rescue Committee. She picked me up. My daughter was sick. She had a bronchitis. She coughed blood from the bus. I was at Indiana Town Gap, and when I get here, you know, I didn't speak the language, but I understand a few words because in Vietnam, in high school you study English or Chinese or French. So I took French instead of English. But at the end, when American came to Vietnam, so I learned a little bit about English for today. I still remember about the, I never can say it correctly. You know, this is the book. I never can say it correctly, but at least I can say I don't understand and thank you, good evening, good morning. I can communicate in a limited way. So the first day I get here, my daughter get admitted to Children's Hospital, and a week later, you know, just through the walking to grocery store, I get an old man who stopped me and offered me a job to be a waitress. So that is my first job ever in America, waitressing. I didn't even know how to memorize the menu, so I memorized the number because the menu have a number 1, 2, 3 to 13, 14. So when I go into the kitchen, I say number 7. Then the cook would know what is that. So they make the food and I bring it out. But you know, it's a challenge to not speak the language. Didn't know anything, and we end up in a very rundown apartment that need to be remodeling. So somehow they get on the refugee there, thanks God, because a lot of refugee in the same building. So I'm able to drop my children to the neighbor and go to work. So in the beginning, I worked 3 jobs because the first job I got is the waitressing. And it's a long story. You will read it in the book because I almost get raped, all kinds of things that are happening. But I survived, worked after 3 jobs. I don't see my children because during the week I work 2 jobs. From 9 o'clock until 4, I work in a place in Georgetown, putting tape into the, you know, putting a tape from the big tape into the little tape. And from 4:30 until 11, I work at the restaurant. And then I just go home, pick up the kid, take them home, go to bed. The next day is another day. In the weekend, I work as the Chinatown. In the evening, I work from 4:30 until 11 at the restaurant, and then 12 o'clock until 7 in the morning at the, what is that? It's the, you know, gambling things. I didn't know that is illegal. I'm new. So I was there for few times because they pay me. My first job, I get paid $1.19 per hour, okay, for the restaurant, and then I get tip. The funniest thing that because the lady who gave me, who is my boss, she stole the tip money and I didn't even know because instead of put it in the apron, she said, no, put it in the can. And I put the money in the can, and every night I get $20. Even if I make $80, I still get $20 only. But it's still a big deal for me. The daytime job, I get like $3.15. And then gambling, they would pay me $7, so it's a big deal, you know, from $1.19 to $3.15, and then I get tip if somebody play and they win, they give me some extra money. So that is the beginning, and then after some time, I almost get raped, and I went back to the International Rescue Committee and say to my sponsor, I said, you know, I need to get different job because 3 jobs still I don't have enough money to take care of my kid. So they say maybe by that time somebody told me maybe I should go back to school. And I said, okay, so what do? I don't know, but the idea of being a secretary is kind of glamorous because I have one client at the restaurant. I asked her what she does, and she says she is the secretary. And she looks so good. She wears nice clothes when I wear hand-me-down, and you know, I don't make enough money. So when I go into the school, I apply to work as the I apply as the student for secretary school, and by doing so, I go in and they teach us shorthand in those days. I have no clue. I don't even speak English. How am I gonna take shorthand, right? So they teach us about the vowel sound, and you know, because out of survival, I'm a quick learner. I learn by imitation, and the way I learn is when I don't understand something, I say, can you explain to me what it means? Till this day, I still have to do it once in a while. I learn, but I cannot take shorthand. I try. So during that time, I met my second husband because my first husband left behind, and my second husband is a friend of some people I met through school. So he was telling me that my life in DC is dangerous because I go to school on 14th Street, and in 1975, you know, 14th Street is not a very desirable place. It's hilarious because they have a lot of adult theater and things like that, and I have no clue. I totally have no clue what this means. So I see movie XXX. I have no clue. One day I have a young lady. It's a true story. It is so weird because I have a young lady who goes to school with me. She say, Rosemary, are you married? I say, I married. And do you have children? I have 2 kids. I tell everybody my whole life story. And she was like, would you go to the bookstore with me? I want to buy some book. And I said, sure, you know, anytime. I thought it's a regular bookstore. And she took me into some place that I see everybody going there wear big dark sunglasses, and mostly men. And so I have no clue. I come in, walk around, and looking at things, and don't understand what this means. And here she got a book, and she rushed out. And here I just so innocent go in, look at everything, and still have no clue what it is, still this day. And that is my first experience with funny things in America. And then another thing is kind of funny because I would go back and people say, what are you doing? I say, I'm going to school. Where is your school? 14th Street. Everybody just burst out laughing, and I didn't know why they laughed. Because the name of the school is Laka Academy. And they teach a secretary, like a trade school, management and bartending, so things that to work for hotel, motel, management. So I met a few Vietnamese refugees like me there, and some of the relationship become meaningful. But after that, I met my second husband, and he decided that I should move to Virginia because that's where he lived. And he said, "You're just by yourself with 2 kids. You should go into different area." And he said he know about welfare system, and he said you should not work as hard as you do now, but try to get into the support of the government and go back to school. So that when he introduced me to the apartment down in Virginia. But the apartment that I stay in DC is unbelievable because it's run down. I tell you, it's roaches, it's scary, but you know, it's better than on the boat with no food, no clothes, no nothing. Or it's better than the tent city that where I go to. So you know, it's quite a journey. But then I go to Annandale, and I remember my first apartment. I able to rent a 2-bedroom apartment in Donnybrook Court. So I moved from DC to Annandale, to Virginia, Annandale, and go to school. Try to register into community college and experience welfare. A welfare mom. But after 2 semesters of English, my friend Trương, then he thinks that the woman shouldn't be in the business, because he told me is that we exposed to sexual harassment, probably with his experience, and his motive that he actually want me. So he suggests that I shouldn't be in the career path of become a professional in office with skill, but I would be better doing things that only related to women, which he suggests that I should chose different profession, because his sister at that time is a skincare specialist, and she studied in France, and when I met her, she's glamorous, she's pretty. So I say, well, that sounds good, but let me try. I still think about being a secretary is so cool. So I tried to register to go to ITT. It's the trade school again. Second attempt with secretary. So I go in, I learn how to type, things God. So now I can work on the computer because I learned how to type. I learned how to type, I learned a little bit about shorthand, but the same story. I know how to take shorthand, I just cannot transcribe them. You know, it's easy to take the vowel sound and do it, but then when you have to transcribe them, I don't have my grammar in English. I learn by imitation. I make plenty of mistakes. Till this day, I would never understand why. It's shoes and toes. They spell the same way. Why are they pronounced differently? So my attempt of being a secretary after 9 months, I didn't pass the test. I passed the test in typing, but I didn't pass the shorthand test. But by that time, I have a friend who owned the company. He's a lawyer, and he did mention that he needs somebody to come and work for him. So I tried. I came. After 3 days, I cannot take shorthand. So he said, I don't think this is the right job for you. So it's like, okay, thank you, Mr. Brick. Sorry. And by that time, I take on the idea of Trương was suggesting that I should go to trade school. So I went to Munich Academy. They teach hair to become a hairdresser. And I really do well in it. Within 6 months, I already do everything that someone in the profession for a long time are not able to, because when I was young, I've always been told that I'm so ugly. So I always work very hard to try to improve myself, or always look at an ugly person and try to say, how do you transform an ugly person to a beautiful person? And my role model is when they had Twiggy in 1960 something as a model. She wear her makeup very, how you say it, very exaggerate makeup, and I love it. I just love it because it helped me to transform as an Asian woman with a teeny bitty eye. I can draw it, I can make it look bigger, and then I can play with the color and the shade. So I become, you know, pretty good with what I do. At 9 months, I passed the test with the flying color, and client beginning to come in and request for me. So I graduated from that, and my first job, I get a job with Garfinkel, working as an assistant for someone who is extremely successful in the beauty business. In those days, I remember he making probably $1,500 a day, and he had 3 assistants. I'm only one of those. So working there for some time is wonderful, but I deal with the discrimination then. I didn't know that it's discrimination. It's quite sad because people don't understand, and they treat people who look different than them differently. I'm the only Asian in the whole group. So I remember when I have to take the client into the bathroom to wash their hair, the shampoo people would say nasty things to me, and they pretend they speak Chinese. I'm not even Chinese, I'm Vietnamese. But they would use bad words. Thanks God I didn't understand what it means, so it's not so bad. But I just know that they're saying something that I don't understand, and probably not flattering, which I cannot repeat. Or I can repeat. So, you know, they use the word is similar to ashu, that's what I thought. They say achu, but actually it's different than what I realized. And a few months after, another young lady who is really pretty, tall, blonde, blue eye, come in and look for a job. They let me go. But you know, it's actually a blessing because they let me go as an assistant. Otherwise, I would just work as an assistant. It's forced me to go and become a hairdresser, independently hairdresser on my own right. So I got another job with Milan. She's French, so in a way it's very good because she speaks English with French accent, and here I speak English, broken English with Vietnamese accent. We get along just fine. And then I'm beginning to get the client to come in, and they like my skill. So everything going well. I'm beginning to accumulate the experience and doing and growing, doing well in my skill, until Milan's assistant didn't like me, and she did something really horrible to me. One day I was late because of the client coming late, and I was rushed to pick up my kid, so I didn't clean up after myself. I think that I can go back early the next day to clean up after myself. The next day I go back to work with the idea that I come in early to clean up. She took all of the hair on the floor and put it in my drawer. And that means I have to take everything in the drawer and clean them. So I was so upset. I come to Milan and I say, you know, this is not nice. And I cannot work with this kind of hostility, because if she didn't want to clean it, leave it the next day I clean it. And Milan didn't know what to do, so she did not protect me. And I said, I cannot work with somebody who hates me that much. So I went and looked for another job. And I find another job. At the new place, I work from 10 to 6. And then I find that it's still not enough money. I find another job so I go and work for Adrian Appel in Bloomingdale from 6 until 10. So most of the time I always work 2 jobs. But that's how I get out of welfare system, because I don't want to be on welfare. You know, you go to the grocery store, you have to use food stamp because they don't give you real money. So, you know, I have that humility, but it's kind of funny because you know you don't use the real money. And when other people would turn around and look at you, and no matter what, with being on welfare, I still always believe in looking your best. So people give me hand-me-down, but I still manage to put myself together, look very nice and very together. And here with the beauty business, so you know, I know how to put on my makeup, my hair wigs look good. And people look at me like, you look good and you're on welfare. They didn't know that everything is hand-me-down. I just make the best out of it. How I start my business is a very interesting story because of the young lady who dumped all of the dirt into my drawer. So it forced me to look for another job. And at the new job, I worked 2 jobs. So I get to know the people in Bloomingdale. And in the evening, I work as skincare specialist. During the day, I work as a hairdresser. And I combine the 2 to work to make women beautiful. And it's my passion. I love to make women beautiful because it's just, I guess it's my own reflection. I always feel I'm ugly. So I always have to work on myself. And then when I get another person that I can practice what I learn how to transform people, it's just very satisfying. And out of doing so, one day I have a client who just sold her business in Georgetown. She used to own the restaurant in Georgetown, a French restaurant. And she came in and she had very, you know, not very thick hair and middle-aged. So she come in and I just work with her and I transform her. When I finish with her, she look at herself and she say, wow, I cannot believe I look so good. So it's like, yes, great, I'm glad that you pleased. So when I finish with her, she become my regular customer. She come back to see me all the time. And one day, she said, I want to start a new business. So I said, wow, it's great. She said, you want to be my partner? And I look at her, I say, I have no money. I have, you know, kid, and I am just trying to get off welfare. How am I going to start the business? She said, I have money. I don't have the skill. You have the skill. So why don't you and I get together and start the business? By that time, after several years of courting, my second husband, mother come to me and propose. She say, hey, you 2 know each other for a long time. You have 2 kids, he have 2 kids. Why don't you 2 get married? And so his kid have the mother and your kid have a father. Makes sense. So I come to him and I say, you know what? Your mom told me that why don't we get married? And he said, well, my mom proposed you should marry her. And I said to myself, I say, well, you know, I understand that your mom very picky and difficult. So I take her proposal to me as a compliment, and it's okay. You know, it's kind of nice to have the mother in the Vietnamese tradition as the ultimate compliment, because the mother-in-law always very picky. So that means I meet her approval, I meet her expectation. So we decided maybe we should get married. At the same time we're thinking about getting married, a client who proposed that I should join her to be her partner. It's a great deal. So my ex, he speaks French, and the lady husband also French. So the guy get together and talk out the deal when I'm just happy that, okay, I get to do whatever I want to do, and I am part owner. So that's how I start La Madeleine. You see the little car right there? That's La Madeleine. Is my first salon. From a welfare mom into the business owner, just because of my skill. But you should see, I work really hard. I tell you, I have one client come in, and it takes me 4 hours to do her hair, because every time I do her hair, she didn't like it. So I take it all out, redo it. patiently, not complain, never complain, even go home and cry by myself. It's like, it's so hard day and I only make $25. But I don't mind, you know, I put a lot of myself into whatever I do. So we started a business. I got married. And then after I got married, I got pregnant with Anne, my daughter, you know. And by the time I'm 8 months pregnant, I find out my partner stole the money from me. I always get people who stole money from me. And, you know, just thanks God I have very strong intuition that one day, I never count the money, but that day a client of mine gave me cash. So, you know, when I do cash, I put it in the ticket, and then somehow I say, can I check on the receipt tonight? And I went home, I count on the receipt, the check that the receipt that have cash on it with the money that the hairdo I do, and this one of the most expensive ticket is missing. So is the money. So then I say, wow, this is the first time I check and I find something like this. How many times that they did that I have no clue? No wonder. I make my money, but I never make profit because she took all of the profit. So, you know, I started a business with her within the first 6 months. I bring in the income as somebody who worked in the business 25 years. Because I work extremely hard and I give all my heart, my soul, everything. I do things for free. I go out there. I market myself like crazy. I market the business. And so I was 8 months pregnant. And when I confronted her, she kicked me out. So she said, well, we need to meet at the lawyer office. And when we go in and we do the share, the way we value the business, it's like 6,000 or 30, it's about $30,000. But the way she put the share is so little. So she come in and she say, why don't I buy your share out? By that time, I trained her how to do nail. I trained her how to work with hair. I trained her how to manage the people. And she wanted to kick me out. And here I'm 8 months pregnant. I cannot even go apply for a job when you are a hairdresser and you are 8 months pregnant. So, you know, of course I was crying and upset, and she said she wanted to buy me out, and I calculate the money. I say, I have enough money to buy her out as the same amount she offered to me. You know, she offered to buy me out at $2,000. And I say, hey, with $2,000, can I offer to buy you out, right? Because I'm the one, I'm the soul, I'm the business. Just say no. So by the time I get back and I work the night before, I work until 7 o'clock. I take my wedding band out and I put it on because I do facial, I do everything. Well, I come back, they changed the lock. I couldn't even get in to get my own wedding band. And then the next day, they put everything in the black trash bag. Everything that belonged to me, the things in my facial and even my, I think I come back, try to get my wedding band, and they bring me back the wedding band, and they dump everything in front of my house. So, you know, I'm a very proud person. I say it's okay. God helped me to come this far from nowhere, from nothing. I don't even speak English. Now I have friends. I speak English. One of my clients is my teacher. So I will survive. I don't know how. Thanks God. They put everything in the back, and there is the box of the business. You know, with all of my clients, when I work on them, I write down what I did. So I have their phone number and everything. So I'm able to call some of the people and say, I'm no longer there. So, but if you need my help, you can come to see me, because I would do it so you don't have to go somewhere else. And you know what? People come in, I don't charge them, but the people who know me, they just give me the money, because instead of paying me at the salon, so even with less than half of the people, I didn't have to split the commission, so I had as much money as when I worked. And that tie me into until I have a baby. I work until I go to the hospital. Yeah. So that's really tough. Second day after, you know, I have baby. 3 days after I go back to work. I never have a break. Sorry, but I make it. I did it. Sorry. So, you know, I struggle, but God is good. So with all of those, the second time, because of that, so I have a baby, 3 months. And one day I remember I was kneel down and I was praying. It's like, God, I don't want to have a partner because it's too tough. I trust people and they betray my trust. So what do I do? And I just think about maybe I should go and rent a chair and be on my own, or I just go and rent a place and do it on my own. Here my ex-husband, he worked part-time and I don't have enough money. So I don't know how to do it. But one day I just tell him, drive around, let's drive around. And then I get to Woodlake Tower, I see a salon, it's empty. And it say, for sale. So I called the phone number, and that is the Woodlake Tower. They on the conversion from apartment into condominium. So the people who was the owner of the salon, for whatever reason, they left the salon. Maybe they finished the lease, maybe they don't want to buy, so they left the salon. So they have everything intact, but run down, really old, really dirty. So I asked them if I can go in and take a look, and they say sure. So they say, we put this for sale so you can buy the space. I said, I have no money. So can I rent it and then I will buy it later? Guess what? They say sure. They let me rent it for nothing. So I go in, rent the place. I remember I stay up until 3 in the morning, cleaning the floor, cleaning everything. So the next day I can have a grand opening. And then I call all of my clients and say, I find the place, so I am starting a new salon. And it's called, one of my clients was there, and I say, what do I put the name? I don't even know how to name it. And my English is not good, so, you know, it's just, how do I name it? And she said, do something with beauty. I said, okay, beauty. And she said, put it Beauty by Thai. Thai is my last name. So I say, okay, and everybody call me by last name because my first name is too difficult to pronounce. So they call, I use my last name as Thai, as my trade name. So it's become Beauty by Thai. So with Beauty by Thai, that's the first salon that I really independently own and run. So from one assistant, I grow into 3. The client, I give myself, one of the clients say to me that most people give 100% of themselves. I give 110% of myself because I work 6 days a week. The only day I don't work is Sunday because I go to church with my family and my kid. Work for 17 years, no vacation. But every time I want to take a vacation, I would take my kid to the 4 seasons. Just so we know what the rich people live like. And I learn a lot from the client who come to the salon. I learn every way, every life story, every circumstances, situation. And I love people because despite whatever they are, everyone have a story. Everyone have the challenge. So through those 17 years, owned the salon, I gave birth to 2 more kids. So total, I gave birth to 5 children, and my ex had 2 kids from previous marriage. I raised 2 of them, and another one came from Vietnam later. I get to know her, but I didn't raise her. Her mom raised her, and very complicated. The family is, the dynamic is very complicated. But most of the kids live with me for some time, and I get to learn how to deal with children from different marriage and understand the complication of the whole things. But by far the kids are wonderful. They understand how hard I work. I gave birth 3 days later. I already go back to work. I worked from 9 o'clock in the morning until 8 o'clock at night. I would have people who sit there and wait for me for 8 hours to get to their turn. I tell you, I cannot say how much I appreciate the people who trust me and willing to wait for me versus just walk out. So that is very nice. And through those things, one day people asked me how I raised my children, because they are in AP and this and that. Honestly, I never raised them, but I do instill something in them. It's a work hard. So I remember one day I tried to help my daughter to do math. I think it's elementary math. It's easy. And she came back and said, "Mom, I get an F." I said, "Why?" She said, "It's the right result, just different method, and you do the wrong one." Just because when I learned in Vietnam, the way we divide them, we draw a certain way, and American draws another way. So it scared me. I never want to help them again because I feel so inadequate that I did not speak English well. I did not even know how to do math the right way. So I stopped helping my kids. But they are very self-motivated because they see how hard I work. So one day people talked to me about how I raised the kid, and the idea of devotion to children come up. Somebody said, maybe you should do something and help other people to raise their children the way you raise your kid. So I look at around me, and a couple of the people I know, I say, "You want to do that with me?" So they say, "Sure." So that's how devotion to children start. 1994, me and two clients formed devotion to children, and I started in August. My second husband left America to go to Vietnam to start a business so we can grow and we can have a better life. So he left. He started go back and forth in 1992. So that is 94. He left. I started devotion in August. Then by September we have a disagreement, and the phone call become very expensive. So I say, you know, if he told me he don't want to come back to the United States, if I want to stay married, I have to move to Vietnam. And I say, I cannot. With the children, they're very young, I'm not going anywhere. So I say, if you want to stay there, then I want a divorce. I just think that I leverage. I didn't know. He said, fine, prepare the paper. So I said, okay, I will prepare the paper, because I thought I still have leverage because I have a kid. And interesting enough, I met a lawyer. I said, I don't have money. This kid, I cut his hair. He said, okay, I do it for you. And he prepared the paper. My ex come back, he signed. And I even say, but you know, the lawyer say we have kids, it has to be 1 year we not live together. He said, well, I left for Vietnam since 92. So we already not see each other for quite some time. You can use the time that we're not together to put it in the paper. So I say, whatever. So I tell the lawyer, and the lawyer say, oh, okay. He came back, he signed the paper. The lawyer was there, he couldn't believe it. And I didn't ask for child support or alimony because the lawyer said, well, do you want to bring it up? I said, well, he must love his kid. He would not do anything to hurt his children. I didn't know that something inside of him probably broken. So he signed the paper. We divorced by December 31st of 1994. No one ever expected. No one ever, including me. I thought I'm just leveraging, you know, just arguing and so, but it happened for a reason. Even as painful and as difficult as it was, it happened for a reason. So after the divorce, I struggled. I lost weight. I was tiny to begin with, but I really just become like anorexic because I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep. I just cry all the time. I couldn't function well. So I know about breakup. But after 6 months, and I guess that during that time, my father passed away. So, you know, it's love and loss. The husband and then the father and the struggle. So I couldn't make I didn't do well in the business because I keep crying. So customer don't want to come in and see somebody. The first question they ask, how are you? And I broke down and cried. So who would want to deal with someone like that? And at the end I have to sell the salon. But thanks God, I sell the salon and go and work for somebody for a short time. And my accountant, who is my angel, he said, well, I think you're better off running your own salon. And I just happen to know there is a salon in Tyson's for sale. So I talked to the people and they're willing to sell it for me, and the payment is installment. So after I calculate everything, then I say it's fine. I sell my house. I sold the old salon, and I rent an apartment to start fresh. And that way I changed my name legally to Rosemary, is my baptized name, and moved to Tyson. And then buy the salon in Tyson's. And name it Beauty and Bliss, because at first it's Beauty by Thai, but then by that time I am looking for a blissful life. So as a decision that I'm gonna be happy from now, I create the salon with the intention that the salon will be a place where you go in. It's like a Shangri-La, like you go in, you transform yourself, you walk out, you're happy, you're beautiful. But it didn't work out that way because it's a big salon and the overhead is very high, and I work from 6 days a week. Now I work 7 days a week, and all my children have to come because sometimes people not show up for work. So in the weekend, to cut costs, my kid has to come in and help to shampoo. Of course they don't like it. They're in high school. And what do they do in the weekend? They have to come to the salon to shampoo the hair. At Beauty and Bliss, I have a concept. It's like a Shangri-La. It's where people go in and it's beautiful, it's peaceful, it's transformation, and it's wonderful. But the challenge that I have a very big salon. The rent is $10,000 a month. Is in 1998, so it's a lot of money. Plus, I have about 9 hairdressers, 7 nail tech, 2 skincare specialists, 2 massage therapists. So it's a lot of expense. I find myself working 7 days a week, no break. And during those times, one of my clients invite me to a party. So I was like, yes, I'm new in this area. I need to promote the business. So, you know, networking is a new concept. but it's Tyson. So it's very different than the salon Beauty by Thai in Phone Church. And Phone Church is right in the building, so you know you have built-in clientele, so you can promote within. But Tyson is a huge place and right across the street with Elizabeth Arden, so the competition is tough. So that night I remember I didn't want to go. It's a party, she invited me at the last minute. So after work I was rushed out. I tell everybody I got to go, I have some place I need to go, and I went. I get lost. So the party is supposed to be from 6 o'clock to 8:30. I get there, it's almost to 8 because I get out of work late. I get there, I don't know where I'm going, so I get lost. I walk in and I know nobody except her, and she was busy talking to a gentleman, several of them, and she ignored me. So I get in very lost, didn't know what to do with myself. And then there comes somebody walk over me and say, hi. And I say, hi. And he say, I'm Bill Lauer. I say, I'm Rosemary Tran. And he say, oh, okay, you want something to drink? It's a great thing because somebody offered me a drink. I don't even know where to get a drink. So there come Bill. We start talking. We have nothing in common. I'm there with one mission, is to promote my business. So I would try to tell him about my business. Everything I tell about my business, he is not interested. So that is just so strange. And then at the end, he said, I asked him, what do you do? He said, I'm a real estate developer. With my limited English, I think real estate developer mean he developed software for real estate company. So I said, oh, okay, it's cool. That's it. We exchanged business card, and actually I stayed there for a very short time, ran into some of the guy, and I decided it's enough. I need to go home. I need to go home to my kid. So I walk out, I say, oh, I'm leaving. And he say, I walk you out. So it's okay. He walked me out to the car, and he say, well, I'd like to take you to, have you ever been in Palm restaurant? I say, no. I'm a country girl here. And he say, I'd like to take you there sometime. And I say, well, I was planning to go there because I heard that where people hang out. And for business purpose, you go where people hang out and pass out your business cards. That's the way I do it. So he say, oh, okay. And then we just left us there and we say goodnight. I get in my car, go home, and go back to my normal everyday living. Work, 7 days a week. And one day I have a meeting with the Devotion to Children group, and it's about time to raise funds. We do it once a year. So everybody say, we need to do fundraiser. I said, oh God. I met this guy. The only thing I have in common with him, he say he know how to raise funds. Let me call him up and see if he would help us, because that's what I asked Bill. I say, I'm a novice. I have a non-profit. Would you help me? He said, what your non-profit name? I say, Devotion to Children. Would you help me to raise some money? He said, sure, I would help you if I can. And interesting enough, 3 months passed, and now I pick up the phone and call the person, and the phone is disconnected. So I think to myself, oh my God, it's another fake person. But then there is the office phone, because I call his cell phone and cell phone disconnect. So I tried the office phone. In 1999, as you know, everybody owned their own company, one-person company, right? Because it's the time of software and all of that. So I call and the answering machine come up. So I say, oh yeah, he must be the software developer, so just by himself. And he worked by himself, so probably nobody there to pick up the phone. But being polite, I left the phone number. I left the message that this is Rosemary. I met you some time ago, and would you please give me a call? So I left the phone number. And a few days passed. Then I get the phone call from him. But actually, I didn't get the phone call from him. I went to work that day. I came back and I asked the receptionist. I say, "Does anybody call me?" And the girl, she's from Puerto Rico. So she said, "Well, there's the guy. I think his name is Bill Lawyer. He called you." Instead of Bill Lauer, it's the Bill Lawyer. I say, "Lawyer? I don't have a lawyer named Bill. I don't know any lawyer named Bill." So I say, "Oh, really?" So she gave me the phone number. By the end of the day, then I go through everything I have to do. So before I go home, I pick up the phone and say, "Let me call this guy to see who he is." Potential another client. Call him. And the funniest things that, because I have a salesperson from California, the guy always, the first thing he asks me is, "How's the weather there?" Right? Because he's in California. So sometimes I say great, sometimes I say not so good. And I feel like, oh, him. I am not ready to buy anything. He sells the promotion, like a pen and everything. It's like, hi. It's a, "How's the weather there?" I said, "The weather is fine. It's just fine." And I don't need anything. And they'll say, "Well, I'm at the beach." I say, "I know," because the other guy in San Diego. So I say, "I know." He said, "Oh, really? The weather here is perfect." And here I get annoying and more annoying. And I say, "Really? So what do you want?" It's like, "Well, you call me, so I return your phone call." I said, "Did I call you? When did I call you?" He said, "You left a message, you called me." And then just at that moment, I realized, oh my God, this is Mr. Lauer. I changed my tone. "Oh, it's you. I'm sorry." It's so ridiculous because I thought it's a salesperson and I was so snappy. At the end of the day, I'm tired, all of that. And I didn't expect that it's Bill I tried to connect with. I say, "Well, can I meet with you?" And I have something. So Bill say, "Okay." I say, "The breakfast or dinner would be better for me because lunch is during the working hour. I cannot take the time for an hour or 2 hours to do lunch." So he said, "Sure, dinner is easier for me." And then we set up the time and he showed up at my salon. I was so proud because I have a real business. I have a real salon. I have a real receptionist. And he probably have no secretary, no nothing, just one person show. So here he come in the high water pen and the Trans Am, white jean and the polo shirt, and pick me up at the my salon. So I was feeling a little bit cocky. Like I'm a real business owner. I'm the president of my own company with a lot of people. So that's how we met. And it's so funny. He keep asking me to go out and do things in the weekend. Here I work 7 days a week. Give me a break. So somehow through the time, he told me, he said, "You should sell the business because if you work 7 days a week and you still struggle to pay, then you should take a break, do something else, or recoup." Actually, he want to date me and he want to do things with me, and I never able to do it because if I work 7 days a week, it's never time for anything else. I don't see my kid. Besides, if they come to the salon and work as a shampoo girl. So, when Bill suggests that I sell the house, I just went through the surgery, and I think that through that period, I learned something very important. For 6 weeks, I couldn't walk because the surgery is really a tough one. And I have a lot of time just to lay in bed and reflect. And I realized that, all my life I'm looking for true love. And when I realized how to truly love someone, that when my relationship became really good, because then Bill proposed to marry me after the surgery, after the potential bankruptcy. So he know everything about me. I don't have to go in and pretend that I am a good businesswoman with a lot of money, because everything I build, I thought that I have a very good safety net. Then the guy stole it from me. Plus, you know, I lost the court battle, and I owe the landlord about $360,000. It's like, oh my God. So I sold the house, and the good things that Bill introduced me to a lawyer who is really good. So he reduced the cost that I owe the landlord into something that affordable. I have to pay like $30-some thousand, plus the lawyer fee and all of that. So the proceeds of selling the house able to resolve all of that. And Bill is the one who buy my house. So he let me stay there until we get married. There is always angel, there is always, you know, God is protecting me. So when Bill decided to buy it and proposed to marry me, I'm able to stay there until the wedding. So we get married and I move in with Bill. And I remember that like tomorrow we go on the honeymoon, I'm still moving today. So after the wedding, I'm just changing to regular clothes and start moving. But it's good. And after I married Bill, my children moved in with him. Bill was planning to be a single bachelor forever, never marry again, and here he married with a woman with 5 kids, and 4 of them move in with him. So he tried to fix the house up to accommodate the family of 6 instead of 1, and he even built the bigger dining room, but still it doesn't work. So we went out and we bought this house. And the whole things about our relationship is through devotion to children. So, you know, there's a lot of good in doing charity. You know, when you work, you do God work, miracle happen. So I met a man who I love very much, and he loved me very much. And with Bill together, we bring devotion to where it is now. We managed to raise several $100,000 and give away to children that need help, to parents that work 2-3 jobs just like me. And every year when we work on that, I realize so many people need help. The only reason for me to do this video and to write a book is to raise awareness, so people know that so many people out there going through the same challenge that I went through. I want them to know they're not alone, and there is hope, there is a way out. It's just take some work to rise above the challenge. And I think that with the book there is a lot more detail than what, and throughout the conversation I hope that I would be a service to others. And everything I do from now until the time that I am going home somewhere else, I just want to devote this time to help others, to help the children, because for me the children are the future of the world, and if we don't help them, the world is always messy, because so many of us are walking wounded. Thanks God, my children now on college graduate, they are taxpayer, productive human being, and they are volunteer for devotion. And I met so many people through devotion, and because of devotion, so many angels, and I see so many children out there. We are children of God, and I just want to serve